assets, opportunities even, that you may lose.
You must ask yourself if you love the people, because the only thing that can bind you to the people you serve is love. Ambition is not enough.
I have discovered the power of kindness, and that has made me a radical optimist. That's why I stay away from politics and from religion.
Countries that take unilateral action or coercive action actually like Pinoy personally.
It's not a beauty contest who's ahead of who, but to...
Once upon a time, we were all irrelevant. And I sincerely believe that there will come a time we will all return to the dark embrace of irrelevance.
Martin's Man Cave.
This economic elite control the instrumentalities of government. Make you a man or destroy you, or destroy you, or destroy you. The Philippine society is like a pyramid.
We are back. This is Martin's Man Cave, the 80th episode with former AFP General Victor Corpus. Earlier on, before we took a break, we were about to discuss his ideologies, how he turned from a devout Catholic student, and how he moved to the Philippine Military Academy, and from the PMA, how he was able to imbibe that ideology and culture of the people back then who struggled against the government. Sir, tell us how it developed.
Okay, I was able to enter LaSalle by accident, literally. Kasi I was enrolled by my parents in the post school in what was then called Fort William McKinley. That became Fort Bonifacio, because my father was a military officer, a military doctor. While playing in the playground, there was that slide that you climb and then slide down. But instead of sliding down, the one following me was maybe in a hurry. He pushed me. And instead of sliding down, I fell to the ground from the top of the slide to the ground and lost consciousness. And I only woke up when I was already in the hospital. And because of that incident, my mother pulled me out of the school. They decided to enroll me in LaSalle. But they had to sacrifice a lot to be able to send me there. So I really thank my parents for that, because I learned a lot from LaSalle. Yung moral upbringing, my moral upbringing was all because of my education in LaSalle. When I was already leaving for the PMA at that time, one of my teachers then, Brother Bonaventure Richard, he wished me luck, but he said that the Philippine Military Academy can either make you a man or destroy you. On my fourth year, I really exerted all effort to study, and I was able to catch up and eventually graduated number 3 in the whole class. I was given the bronze medal for general excellence. Hindi lang binigay sa akin yung valedictorian dahil
umabol ka na lang.
Huli na.
Huli na lahat.
So, after high school, immediately I went to PMA. This was already my third year. Our history teacher was a very nationalistic and very passionate teacher. He had a doctorate in a Canadian university. This teacher was constantly attacking church practices. Yung katulad ng mga adventures ni Father Damaso. Padre Damaso. Okay? Yung kay Rizal. And then he was also very anti-American, yung quote and quote. And because of my upbringing na mga American teachers, yung mga American brothers yung nagturo sa amin, and yung religious background nga. Every time na this teacher of mine attacks the church or attacks the American, I was one of those who were first to argue with my teacher, to question yung kanyang tinuturo. But every time I try to refute yung kanyang mga presentations, lagi akong napapahiya sa harap ng klase. Dahil my arguments were all based on emotion siya, historical facts.
Logic.
No? Because I was not aware of that portion of our history. Kasi iba yung turo sa aming, iba yung history ni Saide dun sa history ni Agoncillo di ba? What I did was to back up my arguments. I became a regular visitor sa library. Every free time I run to the library and do research. But every time the more I read and the more I knew, the more I realized that what my teacher was saying were the truth, historical facts. You cannot argue with historical facts. On my 4th year, there was another doctorate professor, Major Dante Simbulan at that time. You listen to every word that comes out of his mouth. Magaling yung presentation and very calm but very penetrating. Ang thesis niya that Philippine society is like a pyramid. That on top, you have 0.1 of 1% or 100 families controlling practically the entire wealth of the country. Controlling land, most of the land, which is the basic means of production. This elite few not only controls economic power, but they also control political power. Because economic power begets political power. And they use this political power that they monopolize to protect and preserve their narrow class interest. This economic elite control the instrumentalities of government. One of the instrumentalities of government is the armed forces, the police, the courts. So, ang lumalabas dyan, the elite are just using us not really in the service of the people, but in the service of this elite few. Ganun magiging feeling mo. Based on that theory. Doon nag-umpisa yung aking kamulatan. We are not really serving the interest of our people, but we are serving the interest of a chosen few in our society, or the vested interest of a narrow class. I'll give you some examples that convince me that we are just a tool of the elite. When I was assigned in the Special Forces, Philippine Constabulary, I came from the Army. After our Special Forces training and airborne training, I suddenly received an order saying that I'm being transferred to the PC. I didn't want to enter the Philippine Constabulary. Why are you ordering me to go there against my will? So I requested General Headquarters to transfer me to the Philippine Navy instead if they want to transfer me. But my request was denied. So I was assigned to the Special Forces of the Philippine Constabulary. At that time, the head was Orlando Dulay. I later found out that the people that we are going to train are people from the private army of doon na reinforce yung perception ko na ginagamit lang kami ng mga naghaharing uri para for their own selfish interest. Why are they going to use us to train goons? Actually, they were goons, mga private armies. And the funny thing is that their firearms are more modern than the firearms in the armed forces.
More sophisticated, huh?
We were only using Garand at that time, carbine and Garand. They were already using M14 and M16 and M79. Then, what kind of missions do we get? Patayin mo si ganito, patayin mo si ganyan.
Ganon, ah?
Isang mission na binigay sa amin, kasi isang piyesta sa Pamplona, Cagayan, yung mayor doon, nagpapaputok ng baril. Yung sa ere.
Indiscriminate firing.
Indiscriminate firing. Sinitas yan nung 2 tao namin. Yung bodyguard niya, pinaligiran yung tao namin. And then, nawala na lang yung tao namin. Yung pala, linibing na nila.
Diyos ko po.
Okay. So, itong CO namin, nung nalaman yung ganon, they sent mga special forces teams to hunt down the mayor. And then, isa ako doon sa pinadala na patayin yung mayor. But alam ko naman yung illegal order sa siyempre, I did not participate. Instead, ang natagpuan ko doon yung unang naging girlfriend ko. Isang doktora sa Pamplona, Cagayan. Si Wilhelmina or Wilma Aquino.
Ibang putukan yan.
We were already engaged to get married. Sabi niya, 2 taon lang, I will specialize on yung kanyang sa medicine. And then come back after 2 years. At that time, meron ng first quarter storm. Nabaling naman yung attention ko kay Meli dun sa yung mga aktivista. So, iniisip ko kung since I was already decided on what to do. Kasi sabi ko, I will devote my life to the effort in changing our status quo.
The struggle.
Or changing our what I see as a rotten system. Doon nga sa unit namin nag-umpisa yung mga salvaging.
Oh. Doon na uso.
Special Forces, yeah.
Doon na uso.
Yeah.
And that was 1968?
69.
69.
O 68, 69. Ganon, nag-umpisa. Yan, yung Jabida affair. Kasi yung mga members ng Jabida, mga roommates ko, they were inviting me to join the Jabida.
Sila,
Sina, ano yan?
Yung head doon si Martel.
Abadilla.
Abadilla.
Sina...
Kabats mo si Abadilla.
2 years ahead sa akin.
Oh, pero roommates mo sa...
Roommates ko sa Special Forces.
Uh-huh.
So, when they come back from their mission, nagkikwentuhan kami. So, alam ko lahat yung nangyayari dun sa kanilang mission.
Corridor.
Pwede bang talakayin dito yan?
Pwede naman. No?
O, ikaw nang bahalang mag-edit, no? Kasi this is history,
Water under the bridge na yun.
And you cannot hide from history. Ang nangyari dyan, gusto nating get back Sabah.
Mm-hmm.
Nag-organize itong Jabida na mga Muslims,
Mga tausog.
mm-hmm. Headed by mga PMA, mostly mga PMA Special Forces, trained.
Mga kasamahan mo.
Yeah. Kasama ko doon sa Special Forces. Buti na lang hindi ako napasama.
Iba yung nautos.
Ang plano nila is to infiltrate Sabah. They commit atrocities in Sabah. The Muslim participants were revolted with what they were doing to their fellow Muslims. Some of them wanted out. Isang classmate ni Abadilla, kinampihan yung mga Muslim. So, pati siya, pinatay.
They were training
Diyan sa
during that time
sa Corregidor.
Corregidor. So the Operation Merdeka did not push through.
Naka-infiltrate na sila.
Naka-infiltrate na.
Oh, bumabalik doon kasi nandoon yung kampo nila sa Corregidor.
So that's the part of history that was not mentioned.
No.
That's the missing part of history.
Yes.
I produced a story with TV5 about the Operation Merdeka. And according to the historians, they were training at Corregidor, and before they even launched the operation, nag-revolt. So meaning hindi natuloy
sila dahil kausap ko yung mga taong involved eh. Kainuman ko, kabarkada ko. And they were trying to convince me to join. Gusto kong ipakita sa iyo yung perception ko na ginagamit lang kami bilang kasangkapan ng a narrow vested interest in our society. Yung sinunog yung 2 barangay sa Bantay, Ilocos Sur ng mga grupo ni Crisologo. Yung company ko yung kumuha doon sa mga victims, dinala namin dito sa Ateneo, UP. Yung to protect them. Doon kami nagkakilala ni Edgar Hobson. So after that incident, I requested na magturo na lang ako sa PMA dahil yun nga, na-involve ako doon sa ng Ilocos. Kasi si Crisologo, Congressman Crisologo, ang nag-recommend sa akin na nag-sponsor sa akin sa PMA. When I was teaching in the PMA, itong ang klase nila Onasan, class 71, I was very vocal in denouncing yung na-experience ko doon. Umabot sa kaalaman ni Congressman Crisologo na nadagdagan na that I wanted to kill him. I received a notice to report to the office of the Congressman Crisologo at that time, together with my father, who was the Army Surgeon General at that time. When we entered the office, lahat ng bodyguard ni Congressman nasa likod niya. Congressman Crisologo started raising his voice, saying, in Ilocano, no? Ano itong, what is this? I heard that you wanted me assassinated. Pinsan ko pa naman itong tatay mo. Sabi niya, why are you allowing your son to do this to me? As directed to my father. And you, sabi kay General Ugalde, yung superintendent namin sa PMA, if not for me, you wouldn't have gotten your star. Why are you allowing your officers to plan my assassination? I denied because there was no truth to that accusation. I was denouncing what they did, but not planning to assassinate him. 1 week after, he was shot inside the church in Vigan, Ilocos Sur. Congressman Floro Crisologo. Hindi ako ngayon yung suspect. I was thinking that General Ugalde, because he was there when Floro Crisologo was accusing me of planning to assassinate him, and then 1 week after, he was shot in the church. I was waiting to be arrested. At that time, we have already finished planning the PMA raid, yung armory raid. Ang speculation ko, General Ugalde maybe thought that I really did it. So, natakot siyang sabihin na, si kagagawa niya bigyan, baka mamaya siya naman ang isunod. So, he kept quiet. And so, the PMA raid in the armory, December 29, 1970, pushed through. Kung inaresto ako at that time, that was mga November when he was killed, hindi sana natuloy yung PMA raid. Sinasabi ko nga na yung paggamit ng economic and political elite natin sa mga instrumentalities of government, and one of them is the armed forces and the police. Ginagamit kami sa anti-strike. Pag mag-strike yung mga manggagawa, tatawagin kami nung owner ng tulungin naman nila kami. So, sinong kakampihan namin? Yung owner ng pagawaan, laban doon sa mga manggagawa. Pag nag-alsa yung mga magsasaka sa Central Luzon, sinong tatawagin? Tatawagin ng armed forces. Pero because of the exploitation of the landowners against the one, kaya nagre-rebelde yung mga farmers.
When we come back, let's talk about the new chapter inside the Communist Party of the Philippines after that raid. You're still inside Martin's Man Cave here on podcast.ph. This is the 80th and the most exciting episode for this year, 2016. Kasama pa rin po natin si former AFP General Victor Corpus. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Let's go back to the NPA days.
Yun, mahalaga.
Lima, makikikain kami sa bahay ng isang civilian. Tawag namin doon, masa. Kasi yung ating sistema, sasabihin namin, parang ganito. Ganyan ang sistema natin ngayon. Maraming mga incidents yung nangyari that led to the eventual leaving of the movement. Ang unahing dahilan ay yung